All right, Cancer. So this week from Lay Vampire Primal, Connecting Deep Within, Sacred Dance and Instinct, and then from Chakra Wisdom Quest. Now, Primal is going to take on a totally different meaning for me here, looking at it with Quest. Like I've always said, when it comes to Primal, this is one of my going out and having a good time cards, but this is, the nightlife, right? But it's also about freedom of movement, more specifically. So then when you look at Quest, for a lot of you, it's almost like the primal part of yourself is telling you now that you are on an unnecessary path. Now, Quest also says, though, that for some of you, you feel like your life is going to have meaning somewhere else. That's not true. It has meaning right now. But if you think that you're on the wrong path, then with Primal, it's like you need to have freedom of movement now. Some of you may feel like, what you're doing is not what was meant for you. All right, Cancer. Here is your overall for the week. The Five of Wands. So definitely talking about internal conflict for some of you, just with the Oracle cards. But, on the other hand, right, like for some of you, it's just pettiness, I like it better than the Five of Swords, but it's still an annoyance. There may be arguments that are going on, people not hearing each other, competition comes up with the Five of Wands, but with this being the overall, it's like feeling like there's, a constant battle going on, whether that's, external or internal. Now, in the past, the Page of Swords, and that may be what is causing that kind of conflict. When I look at the Page of Swords, not only do I feel like there needs to be more information because of the inquisitive nature of the Page of Swords, but then I also feel like things that are like half-truths. I always question the truth with this one. There may have been things that were said that, some of you may be taking as truth. Or you're dealing with somebody who is, being immature and maybe, causing this kind of conflict for some of you, right? In the present, everybody seems to be getting the Fool. So this, to me, I worry that for some of you, you may be, going on the faith of something that is being told to you. But like I said, I question the truth on that. Now, with the Fool, right? The leap of faith, taking a new path. But there's also that blind optimism, right? Now, like I said, to me, it just feels like getting caught up in just nonsense. Somebody said this, he said, she said. I think it would be the best way to say it. But you're going on faith based on something that may not be accurate right now. Oh my God. Future conditions, the Two of Cups, conflict within a relationship because of somebody going off of, things that are being communicated that I don't think that are exactly the truth. And you definitely may be dealing with an instigator. The problem is that you're talking about either you or somebody else here that's, having faith in what is being said and then getting caught up in the conflict. Now, definitely, it could be that for some of you, you're getting over that and then getting to, a better connection here. But again, we're looking at the Five of Wands as the overall. Your best path to follow, the Knight of Cups. When I see that there, I think that, this is really about you needing to, communicate honestly how you feel. Now, for some of you, the conflict can simply be that, a lot of you may be involved in a relationship that your feelings, may be going in a different direction. And I say that because of the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups doesn't, really, I don't see commitment with him. I don't. I do love the fact that we're talking about the messenger of love and romance. It's great. Who doesn't want that? But fickle emotions. He's wanting to go where that cup is going to be shared or filled, right? But as your advice, I think for you, because of the Five of Wands being there needs to be more honest communication about how you feel, what you're actually offering to somebody, or wanting them to do that. But this is your advice. So it's either about accepting or making here. But I also think that it's about honest communication and feelings, though, too. Oh, my God. Cancer. Okay. The Lovers. What I get from this? I think that some of you may be involved in a relationship that is not actually really what you want to be doing. I see, with this, the Lovers being in your environment, for a lot of you, not only are we talking about conflict within a relationship, but for some of you, it's like wanting to make a different commitment because there's conflict going on in a separate relationship. I think that I'm talking to the Cancers that are in a relationship right now with somebody that they don't actually want to be with. I think that there is a connection. I don't think that there is deceit. But, when we're talking about the Five of Wands and conflict, again, whether that's external or internal, I don't see you, because I'm looking at it like this, and then you needing to be honest about how you feel. I don't see that some of you are actually where you want to be right now. But then I also see, the Page of Swords and think, there's not a lot happening as far as where you actually want to be. It just seems like every time something is said, it's just causing arguments or disagreements or misunderstandings. But there's not the intention to hurt. It's just that the communication that's coming through, and then I still also feel like for some of you, you're dealing with an instigator, though, too. But this very simply is, the inner conflict between leaping on a relationship. But then I also feel like there is another connection that I think is stronger for you somewhere else than where some of you are right now. Your hopes and your fears, the Emperor. Now, definitely, we could be talking about, you needing to get some control here. But then I also feel like for some of you, your hopes and fears are going to be surrounding possibly, a person, though, too. I mean, obviously, yeah, but it's whether or not, they or you can get control over the conflict that is happening, right? I look at the Emperor, and you're talking about somebody who is like not just getting order and control out of chaos, which absolutely you need to do here with the Five of Wands and then looking at the Page of Swords. But then I also feel like this is about, enforcing your will onto your environment. Don't be so set in your ways, though, either, because I do see that with the Emperor. Do you really feel like you have control over what is happening within your personal relationships right now, or over your feelings? Which is funny because I look at the Two and I think of the Chariot, right? I would just be careful about acting like it's my way or the highway, or allowing somebody else to enforce that on you. And then coming out the Eight of Swords, yeah, some of you are stuck. You feel like you are stuck right now, stuck in a certain way of thinking, but that's only because of the information that comes through. Because again, I don't see this as actual truth. It's like half truth, white lies. But with the Eight of Swords, it's like, how do we even move forward here, if we're talking about a relationship. But I do think that, and I don't know where I'm getting this from, but I do think that for some of you, you're involved with somebody that is not actually where you want to be. And that may be where, the conflict is coming through. The need to be honest about the way that you feel and where your emotions are with the Knight of Cups. I don't feel like it's about you needing to wear your heart on your sleeve. Absolutely, you need to, follow your heart. But there's a reason why, you're in the position that you are right now. And then the King of Wands. And definitely some of you have fire going on, Aries, Leo, Sag, but then you have Aries showing up with the Emperor. And you have Gemini, though, too. Now, if we're talking about you being stuck mentally, that's because, there is fantasizing going on. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is with this week, but it seems like reality is killing the fantasy for everybody, especially when it comes to relationships or business partnerships. There is not a whole lot of clarity on how, to get to what you want, right? I mean, for a lot of you, it's fantasizing about, wanting to get past the conflict here and see eye to eye with somebody that, you're wanting to have a connection with. But with the Eight of Swords, it's you or the other person here that's absolutely stuck. You may be stuck because of communication coming through from somebody else, somebody who's instigating, But then I also feel like for some of you, you're not really being honest with yourself about how you feel or where you want to be in terms of a relationship and what you're willing to offer somebody. Now with the moon, again, it's, illusions. There are illusions everywhere. It's just not clear at all. Unrealistic expectations between the two of them, and then not understanding why, you're not seeing what you expected to see happen within a relationship. Now, with the King of Wands coming out, this could be the person that you're dealing with who is stuck. They are stuck. That, or, it's you being stuck with, an illusion that's being cast on you, possibly by somebody else, to keep you, And I don't think that this person knows how they feel, though, either, looking at the moon. And as far as signs go, I mean, you have Pisces, Aries, and Gemini showing up here, but I look at the King of Wands too, and I think, especially for male Cancers, I'm looking at you needing to, really start to follow your passions, your heart. But I think for a lot of you, you just can't. You can't. Some of you straight up are going to be stuck in a relationship. But then, like I said, I do think that for some of you, you're dealing with an instigator here that may be preventing you from being with the person that you actually want to be with. And I look at all this and I go right back to Quest. And then honor yourself. So if we're talking about, something emerging here for a lot of you, it's, the realization here that things are not exactly the way that you want it to be within a relationship, especially. But, there is something new that is emerging within you, and this understanding that you need to treat yourself better and honor yourself and honor your own emotions and where you actually feel like you are going to be happy or fulfilled. I'm telling you, looking at this. You have to treat yourself better, but you also have to treat other people, the same, right? Like, I think that there needs to be more honest communication about how you're feeling, and you need to honor yourself and honor what you want. And then receive with love and appreciation. Receiving something loving from others is a way of showing love. Now, for some of you, it's needing to be open to receive honest communication. But if you have somebody coming through that is wanting to offer you something, looking at the Knight of Cups though too, you have to be open to receive this and show them that love back. Now, but the problem is looking at consider your foundation. Some of you may not really be fully committed to where you are at right now because you have feelings somewhere else. And I'm only talking to the Cancers here who feel like you are not on the right path in terms of your relationship. I am not talking to those of you who are happy. You know, these are this is going to be very specific to those of you who feel like you are having difficulties in your relationships right now. I don't think this is going to have to do with work. Now, like I said, some of you are not committed where you're at right now. Now, I look at receive with love and appreciation, and I feel like this is going to have to do with, you needing to be, because I'm looking at treat yourself better and then honor yourself, right? You need to allow yourself to, receive what you're actually wanting from a relationship, right? Damn, Cancer. But I would say that coming out on this, there's obviously conflict surrounding relationships, people not seeing eye to eye. Some of you feel like you're not where you belong. There's not a whole lot of clarity. There's confusion surrounding another person, around yourself, what you've been fantasizing about, but you feel stuck. I think that the only way that some of you are going to get past this, though, is, like I said, being honest with yourself and others about what you really feel. All right, Cancer. So, like I said before, I am not talking to the Cancers that are happy within relationships, okay? Again, general messages. Now, I do think that this is going to have to do with some of you who are looking at two very separate situations. Some of you I don't think are happy with where you're at. I think that there is a need for you to honestly communicate the way you feel and where your emotions are at because of your advice being the Knight of Cups. But what I will say is, for those of you who are just dealing with one relationship, this is very simply about an outside influence, I feel like, that is creating problems for you in a relationship because of things that may have been said, somebody not being honest about how they feel, which very possibly could be you, Cancer, because I'm looking at the Knight of Cups as your advice. Now, this kind of misunderstanding or, half-truths here that is creating this constant, contention between you and another person is just going to leave you in a place where you feel stuck. Now, when I look at the Emperor, I think, who has control? Do you really think that you have control over your feelings and what is going on within your relationship right now? Or are you relinquishing that control to somebody else? Because I do think that some of you may be dealing with an instigator here. But now, with the Eight of Swords, somebody is definitely stuck in a certain way of thinking. Stuck with certain expectations, looking at the Seven of Cups, but then with the Moon, and then looking at the King of Wands, somebody sure the hell does not know how they feel at all. And you may be dealing with somebody who is trying to cast an illusion on you. And with the Moon being there and looking at the Seven of Cups, you may have had an expectation, surrounding this false information. Because I'm telling you, when I look at the Page of Swords, I don't see a complete truth. I don't think that it's you that is purposely casting an illusion on somebody, because you're the one that's going to feel stuck ultimately coming out here. But I feel like, the dishonesty around where someone's emotions are what is going to continue to create this conflict and then this feeling of being stuck. And with your King of Wands, we could definitely be talking about the person that you're dealing with. I would just say, Cancer, that all of this to me, the conflict, feeling stuck in a relationship or a partnership, having feelings somewhere else, all of this to me is like going right back to looking at all of the oracle cards for that matter. Primal and quest. There is a primal part of yourself now that is making you realize that you are on an unnecessary path. I actually feel like this is going to have to do with freedom of movement, and that's what you need right now. But the only way to get that is to be honest and clear about where your emotions and your intentions are actually at. Now, looking at the soul trees, this to me connects with what we're looking at with Whispers of Love. Emerging, these emotions that are now emerging, and this need to treat yourself better and then honor yourself. Honor your own emotions and honor yourself as far as what you expect to see. And I think that that's where receive with love and appreciation is coming through. You need to start receiving better things from yourself. Because looking at consider your foundation, some of you are not, fully committed right now. And I don't think that there is an intention to hurt anybody in this at all, because we would have been looking at the Five of Swords as the overall. I just think that some of you, if you are in a relationship right now with a person, there is not a whole lot of clarity on the expectation. Some of you are stuck mentally, or the person that you're with is stuck that way. But I think that Cancer, you need to be honest about your own emotions and where they are at right now, because of the Knight of Cups. But then looking at the Lovers and the Fool, right, I think that some of you are wanting to jump into a major relationship. That, or you're dealing with somebody who's wanting to, but we're still looking at misunderstandings and mistruths about emotions. I mean, looking at all of these, absolutely. And it's just going to continue to create that conflict, and there's not going to be a way forward, or you're not going to be able to see a way forward. But like I said, right, I'm only talking to the Cancers who are actually dealing with this situation. For those of you who are happy, this is not for you. But like I said, Cancer, you're going to have to start being open and honest about where your emotions are actually at and what your intentions are in terms of a relationship that you may be in right now.